Hi, everybody, and welcome to Bottom Line Thursday. Brad Johnson here.
Chris Byer.
Chris Bowling. Well done, Brad. Thank you for kicking us off. What's our big topic we're going to discuss?
We're getting closer to what I call renewal season. I know not all groups renew in January, but many do.
Yes.
And wondering, are we going to have a good renewal or a bad renewal? And so often it boils down to the number and severity of large claimants, right?
Yeah.
And large claimants, that's maybe an arbitrary number, but I think at minimum anyone would agree like a $50,000 claimant is large.
Yeah.
Well, there was a study that came out, the Employee Benefits Research Institute. I'm sure all of you are very avid readers of that. I doubt it, but they do good work.
This to you. Yes.
They do good work. It's just more of an academic entity, nonprofit, and they just study various things. And they did a study and they found, now they looked at claimants over $200,000 and they wanted to see, are comorbidities an issue? And let's just define a term. So comorbidity is kind of a condition and a person has another condition. So they have two things going on. And they had like 8.6 million plan enrollees that they reviewed. So this is a big data set. So it's credible.
Yeah.
And it was the under 65 market. They found that 80% of those that were in the $200,000 or higher category for claimants, 80% had a comorbidity. And in a chronic condition. So, you think heart disease, respiratory, musculoskeletal, I think skin disorder and nervous system conditions. So 80% had their large claim reason and something else. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, and you think through that as, when we talk about large claims, when we're going through the renewal negotiation, it's a lot easier to help a renewal not go as bad when you can say that large claim was a car accident, or that was a one and done, as we typically will say as the topic, or it was a heart attack. There's not going to be ongoing. The ones that are more difficult are just what you said, the chronic conditions that are going to continue to bring an additional cost to the plan month over month, year over year. Those are really concerning, especially if we're not addressing those conditions, and it does now morph into a comorbidity because the first one wasn't managed correctly.
Yeah, I have a health system. I actually sent an email to the underwriter today. We were cruising right along, doing great. May and June, our claims went up 30%. And I mean, 64% loss ratio. Now we're at 91. And it was, the question was, Brad, back to your point, and Chris, were these one and done claims, or are these ongoing claims that are going to impact the renewal? And I have a feeling they're ongoing, 2 months in a row, could be a high cost drug. Chris, you sent us both an email, yesterday or the day before, about a life drug, and what was that for, and what did it cost?
It's Roctavian. We'll say that's the name of it because the new name's come out. It's a gene therapy drug for hemophilia A. I'm just looking at it here. It will allow for a single one-time dose infusion to improve, to maybe counteract what hemophilia does and that challenge with bleeding, because right now it's an ongoing cost every month, but that drug is $2.9 million for the one-time infusion.
And Brad, what typically is the claim cost on a person with that illness? Is it around $800 to $1 million a year? Is it that expensive?
It increases as they get older. So if you've got a young patient, let's say 5 to 10 years old, it's not unheard of to see 250,000 or higher a year. But then as they get older, they need more of the medication. It could be up to $1 million a year. And I recall that a very large carrier in Iowa actually got out of the individual market because of one claimant with that condition. So
I remember that.
Yeah, and so what's interesting about this, we talked about the ongoing versus not, and I know we've even addressed this a little bit in our show here. You spend $3 million and it's done. I wouldn't want to be that reinsurance company that year. But following that, the client actually, it helps their renewal position. So,
and it's, I think
crazy as that sounds.
Those reinsurance carriers are probably going to have to pad their costs just to expect that, because they don't want to be the one that drew the unlucky card and get that on the plan that year. because you know that they'll be shocked the next year because the big hit came and they're going to have to do the increase. So I could see them just raising rates in anticipation. But yes, if we could have it done, and instead of spending $1 million a year for the next 20 years, $3 million today seems a lot better, but at what cost today? You know, we talk a lot about, you know, our plan participants on groups where they don't have any waiting period. Does this impact some of those groups that I'm going to get hired at this company because there's no waiting period? I'm going to get this done and I'm out. I'll see you later because I need this drug. We've seen that with some other conditions where somebody will get hired, they'll go through a major episode of care and then they quickly quit as soon as they're done. You know, how does an employer prepare for that? It's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
One of our coworkers, I mean, Brad, you probably remember the day when we would get reinsurance contracts for medical only. I mean, RX was never even in there.
Yeah.
Now you'd be foolish to have a reinsurance contract that didn't include pharmacy. One of our colleagues sent me an email yesterday and said one of our big reinsurance carriers that we put a lot of business with, they are now excluding all gene therapy from their reinsurance contract. So now we've got one more layer that we have to work through to figure out, okay, it says med and RX, but what's under RX? It's just going to make our lives a little bit more complicated. But
and I know one of the real large carriers, are not real large around here, but nationwide, they were starting to do a nationwide pooled product for stop loss just on these drugs for their clients. And so you buy their stop loss product, but you also opt into this other one. So if you have that hemophilia patient or whatnot, it's pooled among everybody, not just yourself. So it actually might blunt your renewal.
that's
more
smart.
than
That might go the direction of the
normal.
organ transplant carve-out policies where, you know, that risk is being offloaded from the plan with a specialty insured product that, you know, maybe that's the direction it goes, because I just don't see reinsurance voluntarily wanting to take that on without some other risk mitigation.
Not for the price we pay for it right now. I mean, if it goes up 50%, maybe, but that's all great points and a great conversation. I thought this would be quick and simple, but I love where we took it. Well done.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Hey, have a good one.
You too, Brad. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.